Do you know the differences between a let variable and a var variable in JavaScript? Do you know when to use each of them? In this video, we are going to go deep into that. So, let's go for it!
In JavaScript, we can declare a variable using the keyword let, and we can also use it using the keyword var. Variables with var are usually in old codes, and it's not a good practice to use them anymore. But we will see that many people are still using them, so it is the best to learn them too. Let's see what is the difference between let and var. Let's say that we have this example. Function print 1 to 10. And I'm not going to receive any parameter. I'm going to open curly braces. And here I'm going to write a for loop from, let's say that we have a variable called number equals 1. Number have to be less or equals than 10. And number plus plus. We're going to increment it by 1 in each loop iteration. Inside it, I'm going to just console.log our current number is plus for concatenating and number. Okay, so it is a for loop that basically is executed 10 times, and it's going to be printing our current number is 1, our current number is 2, and so on until 10. Let's try if it works great. I'm going to save it here in our browser, right-click anywhere, inspect element, console, but it's not being executed because we are not calling this function, right? So as you know, in functions, we have to say print 1 to 10 with the parentheses to call them. Let's save it, and here we are. Our current number is 1, our current number is 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on until 10. We are doing great. We are printing all numbers from 1 to 10. Now, what happens if we add an additional console.log outside this loop? Console.log number. So we are inside this same function print 1 to 10, but this console.log is outside the for loop. If we save it and refresh the page, we have an error. Why? Well, it is because in JavaScript, the variables declared with let are only accessible in the block where they are declared. In any other place, that variable is not recognized, it's unknown, or like it says here, is not defined. In other words, the scope, and this is the word, right? Is a scope of the variable is, in this case, from line 3 to line 5. Okay, so number only exists in line 3, 4, and 5, but it does not exist in line 6 because the for loop ends here. All right, that's when we are using the let keyword. Now let's see what happens if we change the let variable to a var variable. So here I'm going to have the same code, but instead of having a let, I'm going to have a var. If we save it, we have no error here. Indeed, we now printed the number 11 because the variables that are declared with the var keyword have a different scope. They are accessible inside all the function where they are declared. In this example, the variable number scope is from line 2, where the function starts, to 7, where the functions finish. Can you see the difference? Most of the times, I recommend you to use the keyword let instead of var. It's the best practice. The keyword var is mostly used in all pieces of code in all scripts. Now let's see what happened with let and var when we are using it outside functions. Let's say that we have something like let variable equals to, let's say, let variable value. And we have a var variable, var variable equals to another value, for example, var variable value. These are strings, right? Now, in JavaScript, we have a global object called window. That object is the one that represents an open window in a browser. Well, the main difference in this case is that the var variables that are not in a function are attached to the window object, while the let variables are not. Let's save it, and here we are. No changes here, right? But this code has been executed. So here we are going to say console.log window, which is our global object, dot let variable, the one that we have defined here. If we press enter, we have undefined. But if we say console.log window.var variable, here we have var variable value. Why we are getting this value, but we are not getting the value that we just assigned to the let variable? Well, that's one of the reasons why using var tends to be a bad practice. Var variables are attached to the window object. So if we say window here and we inspect this window object, it has a lot of things, but one of them is the var variable that we created here, but not the let variable, because let variables are not attached to the window object. It's a bad practice. We have to try to avoid attaching variables to the window object. Using var tends to be a bad practice. Another difference between var and let is that var declarations can be redeclared, while let variables not. Let's see it in the console. Let's see that here we can define, and first of all, we're going to clear this console. And we can say clear, parentheses, enter, and that's it. Our console is cleared. Now, we are going to define a new variable, let, for instance, variable let equals to 1. And we are going to say now, let variable let equals to 2. So now we are not updating that value. We are declaring again or redeclaring the same variable with the same name. If we press enter, as you can see, it throws an error. We can't redeclare a variable let, but we can change its value just saying let, or in this case, variable let equals to 2, and it will not throw any error. Okay, so the syntax error is when we are trying to do a redeclaration of a let variable. So the syntax error is when we are doing a redeclaration of a let variable. Now, let's try to do the same, but with a var. Let's say var variable var equals to 1, and then var variable var. Okay, we are using the same name, so it is a redeclaration, equals to 2. If we press enter, we have no error here, right? Indeed, if we now say variable var, it says that its value is 2. So the value has been updated. It will be the same as if we said variable var equals to 3 without that var. So redeclaration is allowed when we are using the var keyword and not allowed when we are using the let keyword. But redeclaring variables is not good. It's something that we want to avoid, because if we want to change values, we just use this other way, like we did with the let. In conclusion, we can say that the difference between var and let is the scoping. This is the key difference, the scoping. Var is scoped to the nearest function block, and let is scoped to the nearest enclosing block, which can be smaller than a function block. In other words, our let is going to be scoped to a for loop, but it can be, for example, scoped to a while loop or to an if, or if we have a let variable here, it will be scoped to our enclosing nearest block, which is in this case the function. So in this case, the nearest block is that function, and the scope of the let variable will be between 2 and 8, the same as var. But with var, we are always scoping that variable to the nearest function, and it does not care about the for loops, the while loops, the if-else statements, or any block that is not the function that is declaring it. Awesome. We are going to see more about this topic in future lectures, when we will talk about a topic called closures.
Cool. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. Please, if you like it, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and any comment, any doubt, any suggestion that you can have, please leave it in the comments below. I will see you in the next one.